And on India Matters, let's get a view from Kanwal Sibal, former Foreign Secretary, a keen watcher on all diplomatic issues, and he's been in the trenches of India-US issues as part of his career for many, many years. Ambassador Sibal, welcome. Thank you for your time here on India Matters. Beyond, just the obvious of a possible bilateral trade deal and the tariff friction, etc., Ambassador, what would you say would be an ideal outcome from this visit? This is Trump's number two who's here, just a few weeks after the administration has taken over. What will India be hoping for?
Well, India will be hoping for much better understanding on the issues that have been put on the table. The tariff issue obviously is the most complicated one, and the Americans are pushing very hard, not only India, but even its allies. So they are not going to give us free pass. So we'll have to make some concessions. But there are limits to the concessions that we can make, especially in the agricultural sector. And therefore, we have to get something in return. Of course, we'll have to open up the agricultural sector in areas where we can do so without harming our farmers. But in return, we have to get something. And that something is obviously technology and investment. All that trust and compact and everything else, that has now to be translated into action on the ground. And if we have to reach the target of $500 billion by 2030, as has been put in the joint statement after PM visit, then it can't be on the basis of disrupting the trade relationship and putting India into a corner where India cannot actually deliver the maximalist demands that the Americans make. So they have to be realistic. But on this issue, Trump himself has got some very aggressive issues. Tariff king and everything else. He quotes the wrong figures about the trade deficit between India and the United States, $100 billion, whereas there's only $46 billion, and we're number 10 in the list. We are not the biggest problem for the United States. But there are, of course, the large strategic issues on which J.D. Vance would be very receptive. He's not the man who deals with tariff issues. Trump has his own ideas.
Very true.
Then he has Jamieson Greer, and he has Lutnick, and then he has the other chap, the previous USTR, who's sort of driving the things from behind the scenes. So Vance can only be an advocate of better, more strategic ties with India in the context of the larger geopolitical issues that America and India are facing. And here his thinking about China, his views on China, they're pretty robust. And that will then slip into the whole issue of resilient supply chains, trustworthy supply chains, making India a trustworthy partner. And even if there is this whole business about MAGA and bringing American companies back home, all right, on paper it may look good, but there's no way that there can be such a transfer of production, manufacturing by American companies to the United States. If it happens, it's going to happen over a long period and not entirely. Therefore, some via media, some compromise, some rational solution has to be found, and this India will fit in, and this will be part of the counter-China strategy. And when there is this issue of Islamism and terrorism on which Vance has very strong views.